But with the Bitcoin price, because it's this new asset class that ultimately competes with gold, that means it's going to go from just under $1 trillion market cap to $10 trillion market cap. You're talking about an asset that's at 40,000 could easily go to 400,000 in a relatively short period of time. So you don't want to be the guy in the cartel who's short Bitcoin when it's about to make a 10x move. So it's very difficult to maintain that cartel in a Bitcoin scenario because it's got that huge upside potential yet. And it also, because it's redefining money as we know it. So it's going to attract, by the nature of this new digital synthetic commodity, buyers are going to essentially rule price discovery. It's going to be very difficult to keep a sell order in this mix where you've got this upward trajectory of a new asset class where the total addressable market for Bitcoin is literally $400 trillion, which is the total market cap of all investable securities, stocks, bonds, property, all derivatives, all these things taken in aggregate is at $400 trillion. So, and that is potentially the total market addressable market for Bitcoin. It can demonetize. I think it's already demonetizing gold, just like gold demonetized silver, right? Used to be on a bimetal standard. Now we're on a gold standard. Silver got demonetized. Bitcoin is now demonetizing gold. It'll demonetize the property market. It'll demonetize the bond market. The bond market's a $200 trillion market. Bitcoin's not even at a 1 trillion. That's a 200x right there. So to get back to the price suppression, of course, there will be a lot of price discovery games being played with a lot of derivatives. But ultimately, unlike gold,
Bitcoin is on the verge of jumping by a factor of 10x, with its price easily going past $400,000 per coin. That's the latest message out from Max Keiser. In his latest interview, Max Keiser dived into the dynamics of Bitcoin as an asset class and how Wall Street perceives it. Max highlighted the manipulative practices in the gold market, where price suppression is a common tactic through derivatives trading. However, he emphasized that although Bitcoin can be manipulated in the short term, eventually the demand will be too much and the price will balloon higher. With institutional investment on the rise, including from giants like BlackRock, Bitcoin's ascent seems unstoppable. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Max reveals why he thinks BlackRock entering Bitcoin has changed the game entirely. Also guys, if you want to stay most up to date on the crypto world, I send out a daily 5-minute crypto newsletter that covers expert predictions, on-chain data breakdowns, and breaking news, all for free. Click the first link in the description, enter your email, and join over 50,000 others to become a better crypto investor right now. Now here's why Max Keiser is ridiculously bullish on Bitcoin.
With the gold cartel, you need participation of everyone in the cartel to keep the price suppressed because they all get to make a little money doing that. There's a natural buyer of gold. Gold always has a buyer. Central banks are always in the gold market. So you know pretty much that the demand for gold is pretty much omnipresent. There's always some demand for gold. If you can go into the market and manipulate prices using derivatives contracts, which in this case would mean counterfeiting sale orders to drop the price discovery mechanism by counterfeiting and putting counterfeit sell orders into the market, which drives the price down. You have the ability then to just sit back, wait for the natural demand to come in, which there always is demand for gold, and then ride it on the way up again. And this seesaw back and forth is how the gold cartel is able to book, 1 or 2% a week trading gold. But if you leverage that, you're making 30 or 40% a year, but really with no risk at all. And the way that the cartel sustains itself is that everybody in the cartel knows that the possible risk to them would be a sudden price spike in the price of gold. Like it went from 2 to 20,000 in a day. If that were a possibility, then you would be very difficult to maintain a gold cartel because that risk would be very tempting for somebody to break the cartel and take advantage of that risk. You see that in OPEC all the time, the OPEC cartel. It's hard to keep it going because There's always one player who breaks it and wants to just make an outsized gain against the cartel. And then they can say, well, let's go to war. They go, no, let's bring the cartel back. Don't be such an idiot. And that's been going on really for 50 years. It'll have this natural upward bias. The second thing is that gold is very difficult, and nobody really wants to stand for delivery of gold.
Yes.
So when you're in the gold business, it's all paper settled and it's all cash settled. And people rarely would say, I've got a ton of gold in the market I'm bidding for. I'm going to take delivery of it. I'm not going to. The gold, you've got to ship it, you've got to insure it, you've got to store it. Right? Moving gold around is very difficult, shipping it and storing it. With Bitcoin, because you don't have any of that cost whatsoever, and you control the private key, any laddered, manipulative price discovery edifice can be quickly destroyed by pulling your private key, because it's the base level of any manipulative scheme. Any Ponzi scheme would have, if you can pull it, the whole thing collapses. So that's a unique attribute of Bitcoin, which gold has doesn't. Nowhere comes close with that ability either, because it's you can move $1 billion, $20 billion in Bitcoin in one, in a transaction, one transaction that's completely frictionless. It's costless. It might cost $5 to move $1 billion. So these things work in its favor against a manipulative cartel emerging to keep the price from realizing its natural bias toward demonetizing every financial asset in the world due to its superiority in every way.
I think that that delivery thing is the most important to the fact that prices on gold could be manipulated, because very few people, it's only central banks. And even then, they don't like to take delivery of gold because it's very expensive to transport in mass. If it's 1 ounce, okay, that's okay. But to take delivery of a ton, you also saw this, for example, during the COVID lockdown with oil. Oil is very difficult as well to take delivery of. Well, that's why oil prices went negative in the US, because there was an ETF sort of product on a futures contract of oil. And it got to the point in, the pricing of oil where the expiration of the contract, they had to roll it over, and in order to do it, basically they had to take delivery of oil, and nobody had the ability to take delivery of oil at that moment. So the price went negative because of that. So that showed the scheme. If you can't take delivery of the item, it all blows away. Well, with Bitcoin, it's very easy to take delivery of no matter how much. If it was like $10 billion worth, you could take delivery just as easily as if it's $10 worth.
Yeah, I remember when I was working on Wall Street, there would always be these stories about that you'd see in the Wall Street Journal, that some farmer in the Midwest, didn't roll over a futures contract and was forced to take delivery of 50,000 tons of wheat or something. It just showed up, it's like, you own it, they ship it, it's like, oh man, I messed up that order. But that's not the case with Bitcoin for the reasons that we've just discussed. So yes. I would say the short answer again is no. Well, the BlackRock is a useful idiot, right? Because they've got a lot of money and they're going to buy a lot of Bitcoin. And so for 12 years, we have front run BlackRock. This is really the first time, again, another first in history, where the average person got in there a decade before Wall Street did, right? So when we was doing Kaiser Report, Bitcoin was $1. We talked about it as a new asset class. We said that it had the potential to go to $100,000. A lot of people we know bought, 1,000 Bitcoin, 2,000 Bitcoin for a couple of $1,000, right? They're sitting on 40, 50, $60 million. So, and they're very appreciative. They send us thank you notes all the time.
So I would say you have to come to El Salvador, because everybody has to come to El Salvador if you're a Bitcoiner or not. Because even if you're just red pilled and not orange pilled, El Salvador is definitely a place you have to come see for the liberation and the economic liberty alone. In El Salvador, from the first week of April, we have the Bitcoin halving party, and many, many, many people from around the world are coming to that. But El Salvador also has a new thing where just a tourist visa, you arrive and it's $12. Some countries are different prices, but for most it's $12. You arrive, you pay the $12, and you can stay for 6 months on a tourist visa. Wow. So you come for the halving party and you stay for the Adopting Bitcoin conference. in October. So I think we get it all in one go, and maybe it's early November that the Adopting Bitcoin event will be, but it's definitely the beginning of a super dry season, really cool time to be here. This is a good year to be here because also President Bukele will be inaugurated June 1st. So you'll be here for a real huge party for his landslide victory and the second term beginning. I think everybody's in a good mood, everybody's happy, and it's cheap, and it's also the home of economic liberty.
I normally ask people to end up on a message of hope as my last question, but I don't think I need to ask you guys to do that because we've done this throughout this episode. I think the very essence of this episode is hope because it shows that there is an alternative, both geographically and monetary. And so
I think so. I think, El Salvador is winning, and it's winning those people. Like the people who we want here are naturally coming here because they're the ones who are red-pilled. They're the ones who are orange-pilled. They see the emerging totalitarianism and the dark ages of fiat in their own countries, and they want to go to the light, and they want to go to the liberty, and that's here. So we're already attracting the people that want that. So by attracting people who want that, we compound that here.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling because usually in periods of global economic decline, the question always comes up, well, where do you go? It's the same everywhere. And people, when they say this to me, I say, actually, that's not true. There is a country that is showing the light, showing the path forward, where there's a lot of hope. And the people here, I mean, that's really the most outstanding quality of this country, is that the Salvadoran people are really just outwardly gregarious, friendly, open, hardworking, fun people. They're just fun. And they are so appreciative of this chance they've been given by President Bukele in eliminating the gangs. And they are really almost dancing in the streets. If you go down and you see the scenes in front of the library in the historic center at night at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, they're waiting in line for an hour to get into the library. They've got music on the streets. They're literally dancing. It's like Victory in Europe Day after World War II. This is a fantastic feeling. And the best way to enjoy it is to come here.
So there's Max Keiser and Stacy Herbert sharing their views on Bitcoin's future. They're optimistic about how Bitcoin can shake up the traditional financial system. From institutions like BlackRock joining the space to countries like El Salvador embracing it, they see hope and opportunity. Bitcoin isn't just for investment, it's about giving power back to the people. As Bitcoin continues to redefine money and economic liberty, the future looks bright for those embracing this digital revolution. Before we go, a quick reminder for those who are keen on staying updated in the fast-paced world of crypto and Bitcoin, consider subscribing to our daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It's a concise resource for the latest expert predictions, breaking news, and top on-chain analysis trusted by over 50,000 subscribers for insightful crypto investment information. Click the first link in the description to join our community and elevate your crypto investment knowledge today. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.